This is the Dad Devotionals podcast with Dave Domzalski. Each week, I'll bring you compelling interviews that'll educate, inspire, and motivate you to become the father and husband our Lord called you to be. We're a community of devoted dads who want to strengthen our faith and family and live out our true purpose in this life. Please, won't you join us? Just text me at 717-913-5671 and you'll be welcomed into my devoted dads community. And if you want to support the podcast, we invite you to purchase a product, a book, or a course in our affiliate shop on daddevotionals.com. You can also contribute monthly at patreon.com/daddevotionals. Now, here's today's show. God bless. Today's guests are Brandon and Catherine Wadas. They're the founders of 85th and Pine, a small family-owned business that strives to create quality laser cut and engraved products. They're based right here in the US, and they started right in the middle of the pandemic in 2020. Pretty amazing. They also managed to quit their jobs in the process, and they're doing 85th and Pine full-time as they raise their two young children. Brandon and Catherine, welcome to Dad Devotionals. It's so great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yes,
we
thanks
really
for having us.
appreciate it.
Awesome. No problem. So as we begin here, what do you want the listeners out there to take away from our chat today?
One of the main things that we really want to focus on today is just how Gab in particular has really helped us expand our business, and grow into the parallel economy. It just kind of goes to show you that two people can put their minds together and work together. I think we have kind of an interesting story with us being a husband and wife team. So although maybe some people don't think that they could work together, you never know until you try, because we never thought we'd be working together. And here we are.
Absolutely. It's funny. My wife and I did a brief stint working together in real estate. It was before she decided to become a stay-at-home mom, but it definitely was interesting trying to find each other's, trying to pick up where she was weak. She picked up where I was weak. We kind of played to each other's strengths, and it worked out. I was more the behind the scenes guy, and she was the front. But it was definitely interesting to say the least.
So that sounds familiar.
Well, great. We'll get into that. But let's talk about your family for a moment. How long have you guys been together, and what are your kids' ages?
So we've been together probably about 14 years now. We actually met in high school. That's where we started dating. And we didn't get married for, several years after that. But we also have two kids. We just had a baby a couple months ago. So we have a 2-month-old and almost a 2-year-old now. So we are busier than, ever before, and trying just to make everything work and balance life.
I can't imagine. I mean, hopefully you guys are getting enough sleep.
It's hit or miss right now, but we're making it work.
Sure. Well, that's good to hear. I mean, it's tough enough as it is out there. But since you started this in the middle of the pandemic, why did you decide to do it then? I mean, what led to, hey, there's all this craziness going on in the world. Let's start a business.
Well, it actually, it was kind of bad timing, I guess, in that sense. But at that time, we just had our first child a few months. Well, actually, we had her right in the middle of the pandemic.
Wow. So
I had to go back to work after maternity leave, which was about 3 months. And I really wanted to be able to be at home with her and help raise her. So it just happened to be in the middle of the pandemic where we wanted to do that. And so Brandon, my husband, we were trying to think of different ideas on what I could do to stay at home, but still make some money. And he just researched some stuff online, and he came across laser cutting. And I never even thought that would be an option for us. I never even looked into that. So when he presented that to me, I was a little skeptical. I didn't really know what to think about it because I had no idea what laser cutting was. But we went ahead and just went for it. And, it's been working ever since.
Now, what platform did you start out on? Did you just decide, hey, maybe I'll set up a Shopify store? Did you start on Etsy? Did you just go, hey, we're going to go all in on Gab? What were your thoughts there?
Yeah, we actually started on Etsy, and I actually had a business crocheting and knitting before this on Etsy, and it just wasn't really getting us anywhere. So we kind of put that on the back burner. So I already had an Etsy account with that. So we just decided to proceed with Etsy with this laser cutting business. and kind of go from there, knowing we would want to get our own website in the future once we got our feet wet. So we started with Etsy, and then just recently we started our own website and have been really getting that going a lot more so.
Yeah, that's great. I like to see how you started to succeed on one platform and then slowly started adding them. So you started what? Now, give us the time frame for when you started. Was it late 2020 again?
Yeah, so it was late 2020, November, particularly in 2020. And that's when it kind of just blew up from there. And then we started, I'll let you talk about Gab, posting on Gab.
Yeah. So we went one season, like our busy, quote unquote, busy season, which is the fall and like around Christmas time, because we do like ornaments and more gifts. So we went one season without Gab and then one season with Gab. So that was 2020 when we were without Gab. And then I joined Gab in 2021 under a personal account for myself. We didn't have a business account just yet. And I was just kind of feeling it out. I don't even remember, honestly. I wish I knew, because it would be a better part of the story. But somehow I came across Gab and I heard about it. And I'm like, all right, let's just see what it is. So I got on there and I was kind of fishing around. I'm like, okay, kind of interesting. But like, it's kind of like the Wild West, so, there's
Yeah.
like I put up some stuff and kind of got attacked, and I'm like, man, this is and like it was stuff that I was proud about, that I posted about. And because I'm actually a professional natural bodybuilder, so I was like putting up some of my bodybuilding stuff on there. And then people were just like tearing me apart about that. And I'm like, man, yikes, like this is kind of interesting. But then next thing I know, I'm like, well, at least you're getting good interaction like out of these people. Yeah. So like, I saw other businesses on there. I'm like, okay, well, people obviously have businesses. Well, why don't we create a business page and see what happens? Because it doesn't hurt to try. So here I am, like, just posting our stuff, seeing what's going on, and then it just kind of took off from there and just added another level to our business. So and it's been going well ever since.
No, that's pretty cool. I mean, you're navigating a whole new social media network. I mean, which is, interesting in and of itself. You're trying to learn the culture of it. I mean, what do they say? Like, Facebook's the boardroom, or LinkedIn's the boardroom, or whatever. Twitter's kind of like the cocktail party. Like, they all have their own personality. So it's fun trying to navigate that. And then also, hey, this one's supposed to be about free speech. So why the heck am I getting attacked for just posting that stuff? So that's interesting.
So like for me, and I think a lot of people can kind of tell, like I do all of our posting on Gab and stuff like that. Like I don't, people need, people going after Catherine on there. Like I could handle it. I just don't need her, seeing all that. And I'm just like, cause some people like come after you a little bit, but I'm just like, all right, I guess it is what it is. That's what happens when people have free speech. But I mean, obviously that's few and far between. We have a lot of great customers and have honestly built, some lasting relationships in our short time on Gab with people from across the country. So like those obviously outweigh the few instances of people, calling us names or whatever.
Usually it's just people with too much time on their hands. And I guess that's what people had with the pandemic.
Right.
But,
right. Absolutely.
So it's interesting because, you had this success in late 2020, and then, you carried over into the next year. When did you decide to leave your jobs? Give us the time frame for that.
Okay, well, for that was very interesting. I did not expect this to happen. So we got our laser machine like November 4th of 2020. We started selling things maybe November 8th, and I quit my job December 9th. So
of 2020. Wow, that's incredible.
Of 2020, okay. Just because we had so much success in the first 2 weeks, really, and we just knew the potential of that business. So we just decided to take a risk and go for it, put all of our, work into that and see what happens. And luckily it worked out for the best.
And I do want to preface, because I know that sounds really silly, like we quit our jobs after a month. I was still working the whole time. I still have another business that I do, which supports us some, but this is our main business. So at the time we still had an income coming in from me, and we still do. But I just wanted to be able to say, okay, look, here I am, I have this stable income. Let's do something for you now so you can have a stable income. And at the beginning, really, I had no part in it, in the business. I was out in the garage, like sanding some of her woodwork, and that was it. Packaging up the boxes. Like I wasn't really doing a ton, but then, I started getting a little bit more of the marketing. I actually started coming up with some of the projects. So it went from her business to me just doing like the trivial tasks to like us working together over time, which, like I said, we never really thought we would be doing. But here we are, like the dynamic duo, running everything by ourselves.
I love it. But you know what? We're going to take a moment to thank our sponsors. When we come back, we'll chat more with Brandon and Catherine, founders of 85th and Pine. We will be right back, folks. Want to start a website for your family business? Check out Bluehost and get everything you need to start up your own website. Select your domain, a design template, and get the right hosting plan. Whether you're starting or growing a digital business, brick and mortar shop, or you're selling eggs on the family farm, Bluehost can help you get your business online. Plans for Dad Devotionals listeners and RunTheMoney.com fans start at $2.95 per month with a free domain for 1 year. Go to runthemoney.com/Bluehost and sign up. That's runthemoney.com/Bluehost. Get it done. All right, we're back with Brandon and Catherine Wadas. They're the husband and wife team behind the successful family-owned e-commerce store, 85th and Pine. Guys, let's talk about your Christian faith and how that's impacted your business. Can you tell us how God has worked and is working in your lives here?
Absolutely. That's obviously a huge part of our success right now. Like I said before, I really wanted to be able to stay at home and help raise our daughter at the time when we started this business. And we prayed long and hard for answers and an idea of what we could do. And, at the time, we really didn't think anything good was going to come of it. We didn't know what to expect. And God has definitely exceeded our expectations with this business and continues to bless us every day with it. And we're always very thankful for everything with that.
And we kind of take some time to reflect on, the success of our business and sometimes, and I think Catherine would agree, that I just get like this divine inspiration. Mm-hmm. And like, for example, when we came up with this laser cutting business, I just happened to come across the machine online. I'm just searching the computer, looking for things to do, like
Craigslist.
Yeah, literally like late at night. I think honestly, we found it at like 9 o'clock at night, one night after our daughter went to bed. And here I am scouring the internet, trying to find jobs for Catherine. And then I come across this laser cutter and I'm like, we're doing this. This is it. Like and we literally ordered it that night, and it's thousands of dollars, So
how much was it? What was the price you got it for?
It was $4,000 at the time.
Wow. Okay.
So, that's a good chunk of change. And I took it out of my business account, like to make, for her. And I'm just like, all right, we'll see what happens. And then it worked. So and that's not like, I don't come up with that fantastic of an idea and that expensive of an idea, like on my own, and just be like, we're doing this. Like, and she had no design experience. She's creative, but like never digitally designed anything. And I'm like, don't worry, you'll figure it out. And she did, and so like, I think that was kind of like God's guiding hand. It'd be like, hey, you guys are going to do this together. Yeah. And I think, we give him a lot of the credit, and obviously, we do a lot of the day-to-day work, but him guiding us to this particular business, to this laser cutter, we give him all the credit on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. And it's amazing too, because you took that, just a little mustard seed of faith, and then you went ahead and did it, and you just trusted. I mean, it sounds like through your trajectory. I mean, we're only sitting here in the middle of 2022, and you just took the next step. You had that faith, and you took the next step, and I love that. But he did put the two of you together to work together, not only as in this business, but also as husband and wife, raising your two children. Tell us about that. What does a typical day look like with you working together and doing all these different things, multiple businesses even?
It's definitely chaotic. So we have kind of a small home right now. So we are bursting at the seams with space at this point. Sure. So having two kids, two businesses, really trying to manage all that, it's tough. Luckily, my parents help a lot with managing the kids and watching them a few days out of the week for us, just so we can get something done. But it's definitely a challenge sometimes. But honestly, we wouldn't want it any other way, even though it can be tough.
Yeah. So I would say a typical day for us is Catherine is up during the night with our youngest. And then I take the early morning shift. So I start my day anywhere from 5 to 5:30, and then I'm up with our youngest. And then in the morning, we try to throw breakfast together and play with the kids, and then do work all throughout the morning. One of us is usually either playing with our daughter and or monitoring our son, or vice versa, and the other one is working. And then at noon is when we try to take a break, usually hit the gym. And then after that, we try to do a little bit more work in the evening, like in the afternoon, but usually that just kind of turns into playtime with the kids, just because they're so rambunctious, because it's warmer now, especially our daughter. And then in the evening, that's where Catherine usually stays up and works.
Wow.
Try to go to bed by 9, and then we do it all over again.
A lot of back and forth with playing, eating, and managing the business, just running around the whole day.
Thank God for cell phones and laptops, right? So is the gym close by? Is it in the house, or?
Yeah, it's definitely very close by. I ride my bike there, and it's like 0.4 miles.
Okay.
So very close.
We're not talking too far. That's good, especially
Yeah,
during the winter months.
Oh yeah, out of the day, I'm gone for about an hour, just to get in and get out, just because I know, and, it's hard when you're alone with kids, and you're trying to do other stuff at the time. So usually during that time, the kids are sleeping, or at least our daughter is sleeping during that time. So I'm like, okay, at least there'll only be one of them that she has to deal with during that time. Ideally, they would both be sleeping, so then you could actually do some work, and then I don't feel as bad or feel like I have to rush. But yeah, we try to, get a somewhat of a schedule down. It's very, very challenging with a newborn, obviously, but our daughter is obviously more on a fixed schedule. And then, like, for example, my other business, today was Wednesday for me. So I have like all my clients check in with me on Wednesdays. I do virtual coaching for bodybuilding. So I just schedule one day out of the week where I know, okay, hey, this is going to be my busiest day. And yeah, I might get some messages here or there on other days from people. But at least I know, okay, Wednesday is kind of devoted more towards my business. And then all the other days I'm handling, our business combined.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine not figuring out some kind of a schedule. I mean, ever since the beginning of 2020, I've been fully home myself. I have a full-time job in addition to doing the podcast and another website. My wife homeschools our two children who are 6 and 4 now. So yeah, I understand. You got to have some kind of regulation, otherwise nothing gets done.
Oh yeah.
I can appreciate that. Now, for some of the husbands out there, it's a dad devotionals. Obviously, you're getting mostly men here. For those that want to maybe start their own business and or get into it with their wives, what tips do you have for them?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the first tip would be, especially if you're going to get into it with your wife, be prepared to go back and forth a lot, just like a typical relationship, because you're not always necessarily going to agree. And I would say that I push Catherine a lot, and then she needs to be pushed a little bit more. Like, I'm more of like kind of the driving force, like, hey, we need to do this. Kind of like how we started with the laser cutter, like, no, you're going to do this. But it has to be a working relationship. So you can't just say like, hey, that was probably poor on my part. Like, here's this business, take it. You have to be prepared to work together as a team, just like any good relationship. But if you're just a dad out there and you're looking to start your own business as well, I would say, find something that you enjoy doing, first of all, and then try to make money from it. So whether that's, woodworking, leatherworking, or like you do, I mean, you have a podcast here, like, you could make money. You'd be surprised ways that you can monetize the things that you enjoy. I'm not saying that you're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, but if you could make a couple extra $100 here and there, I mean, that, that can pay for groceries or gas. Obviously we all need that kind of money nowadays, with everything being so high. So yeah, I mean, I would start small and then grow. And that's what we did. We literally started with 2 products. We made an ornament and a kid's name puzzle. And that was how we started our business. And that was all of 2020 and into 2021. At the start, we barely had any products, but we just started off with 2, and we're like, okay, we made something work, and now let's grow on it. So you don't have to just start crazy, selling a bunch of things or doing all these different ideas all at once. Stick with one and see if it works. And if it doesn't, then try something else.
Love it. Catherine, any tips?
I would just say, just stay open-minded about everything. I mean, like Brandon said, there's so many options out there you can get into. Being open-minded, and if you want to start your own business with your wife, listen to each other, because communication is the key.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. My other business is a blog that covers personal finance and entrepreneurship called runthemoney.com. I started that a couple of years back. And since then it's helped us redo our basement and add a patio on the back and paid for kids' activities. And the work even qualified me for the current job that I have. So,
nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Guys, out there, there's so many different variations that you can do in the parallel economy on sites like Gab, on Etsy, like Brandon and Catherine are saying. Please just go out there and just start. Use the skills you have. Are you interested in fitness? Start a coaching business. Get a couple of clients. Just start. All right, guys. So this is my favorite segment. It's called the Fatherhood Five. It's kind of like a lightning round. Just quick hits. There are plenty of people that survived it. No, I've actually tried it. No one's perished in the process. It's just a lot. It's a lot of fun. Trust me, especially for me as the host. And Catherine, ladies first. We're going to start with you.
Oh, good.
So I'll ask the question, and both of you kind of just, each one answer. So that's how we'll do it to make it simple. What is the most rewarding thing about being a parent with a family business?
Well, I would say being able to help raise them and be with them all day long. Like I said, my parents do help out a lot, but being there and not missing any moments, that's the most rewarding thing to me.
I like that. What do you say, Brandon?
Yeah, man, that's a good answer. And that was the reason, why we started this business, and was to, like Catherine said, not miss the moments. And I think we appreciate that. Just like, for example, yesterday, my daughter's here on the couch and we're just kind of like watching a show together, and she's being funny. We were like tickling her, and just having a nice like family moment. And yeah, it was in the evening, but I feel like if we had conventional jobs, we would miss some of those intimate moments as a family. And I think that's the most rewarding part of having a business, is so we don't miss anything.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that, because my little ones will come up and show me their artwork or whatever they did that day. And usually, if I was at a regular job, if I had to go to an office, I would get a picture of it, or I'd hear about it when I came home. But to be there and see their excitement and to kind of be in the moment in a sense, even though I'm in an upstairs office, it just makes it so much more special. Now, let's talk about the most difficult thing about being a parent at home with a family business. Catherine, let's start with you.
Well, I would say managing the time. Like I said, balancing so many things at once is very difficult. And there's only so many hours in a day where you can get stuff done. Just balancing everything. It's tough, like feeding the kids, making sure they're happy and content and entertained, and making sure we're still making money to feed them.
Very important.
Just a big juggling act. That's the most difficult.
What about you, Brandon?
I would say for myself, it would be, finding time to focus. We have a 2-bedroom townhome, and I don't have a separate office right now. I'm jealous. The kids could be crying. My daughter could be watching a show. The laser machine may be running, and they're literally all within a handful of steps of me.
God bless you.
Here I am sitting at the edge of the kitchen table, because that's my office currently.
Yeah, right.
One end of the kitchen table, and my wife has her other separate spot, which is usually the other end of the kitchen table. We're here, and if I'm trying to edit a video, if I'm trying, to do anything if I'm trying to write statuses or anything, it just, it requires the need for some concentration, and that can be very challenging with all that going on in a very, very small space.
I think since the pandemic, though, more and more people can appreciate that situation, especially when it comes to having a meeting on Zoom. You never know when a kid's going to walk in, or you're going to get something's going to crash in the background. So I get it. What is your go-to resource on parenting?
Oh man, I guess I'll take that one.
Yeah.
We just figured it out as we went along. So I don't think we have like a particular resource. Our oldest daughter was very challenging. So I think we learned a lot with her.
Sure.
And And like for our son now, even though he's very young and different, he's a little bit easier. We already feel like it's just the experience. So although a lot of dads probably do watch this, maybe, there's someone that's not a father that's listening. And I think the best way to learn is just by doing. So as much as I can give my friends who are not parents yet advice, I can give them advice all day long, but once they're in it, that's where you're going to learn your best. So I think honestly, that's the best way to learn parenting is, you have a child and you figure it along the way.
Yeah. And like you said, just by doing, but we felt like we prepared as much as possible before we had our first one. We read a lot of stuff. We took classes, all that. But when she actually came and when she was here crying or whatever, we froze. We just like, what are we supposed to do? Like, I don't know. So kind of jumped right into it, just doing it.
No, I love that. Experience is a great teacher. And then, often we get into the moment, like you said, Catherine, it's like you throw all the training out the window and kind of instinct takes over. Well, really, probably the Holy Spirit, really, in many ways. Who is someone that you both admire?
I would have to say this might be cliche, but I admire my husband a lot. From the day I met him, I knew how passionate he was about everything that he does. And he's dedicated, hardworking. The list goes on. There's not enough adjectives to describe him. And we wouldn't be where we are at today without him, with our business, with my family, with our marriage, everything. I give all the credit to him. So I admire all of that.
And if I had to say, I'll choose Catherine as well, but I'll bring her mom into this as well. So not only Catherine as a mother, but her mother, just because of, you could see like the teamwork that it involves. And Catherine comes from a little bit larger family of 5, and how much her mom has taught us about, not only raising kids, but being a solid example for us and as a family unit, and just the help that she gives. So I admire, Catherine's mother a lot, and of course, Catherine for what she does for our family, because as a man, it's challenging for me to, take that motherly position with the kids, and the kids just gravitate towards her as much as I would like to have our little one come and want to snuggle with me in bed at this time, or come to me crying when she has a boo-boo. Like, she goes to Catherine immediately. So she has to take, all those instances and settle the kids down. And so I really admire that as her role, in the family, is to be that matronly figure. It's something that, I obviously don't have, being a man, that the kids gravitate towards, but I admire that out of her.
No, I love that. And that's why you guys are so successful, because I can see the support that you have for each other. I can, and then also by extension, the extended family. That's beautiful. You guys are really blessed to have that unit and to be able to do all the things you do, because, amen. It's tough out there.
Absolutely. Yes.
Last one for the round here, and then we'll close out. Name a quote or a Bible verse that you're meditating on lately.
I'll say a quote that I actually engraved on my own wallet that sticks with me all the time.
Nice.
It is, he who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life. And it really kind of gravitated towards me, especially at the beginning of creating this business, because I'm always on the more cautious side of things. He's the bigger risk taker. So I always, look to him when taking risks. But it kind of says a lot. If you don't take a risk, you're never going to know what can come of it.
I love it. What about you, Brandon?
And for me, I actually told this to my brother-in-law the other day, because he has a business on Gab too. Hidden Souls, if you want to check them out, they sell rosaries and other Christian gifts. There's a plug for you, Pat, if you're listening.
I'll link that up in the show notes for folks to check out.
Awesome. But I told him, knock and the door shall be open, ask and you shall receive. And I think that plays a big role in our business too, because we're looking to expand in other avenues, and sometimes we as a couple don't have all the answers, but we know a lot of people who might have an answer, or who might know someone that we could potentially work with. So don't be afraid to ask. And I think that's a big part of humility, is knowing, when you don't know the answer, or maybe you need help. So I would say just don't be afraid to knock, don't be afraid to ask, and you never know what will come of it.
I love that. Humility, asking God, stepping out in faith, putting yourselves out there. I mean, you just summed up parenthood, the faith walk and business all in one. I love it, guys. All right. Well, we are just about out of time, but this is the chance for you all to tell folks where they can connect with you and learn more about 85th and Pine.
Well, our business website is 85thandpine.com. You can find our email. You can message us through there. Our email is 85thandpine@gmail.com if you want to reach out to us as well.
And of course, we're on Gab. So like I said, you'll be interacting with me if you're on Gab. I post many times a day, sometimes funny things, sometimes business stuff, but I love interacting with everybody on there. And yeah, if you're interested in any laser cut and or engraved gifts, go ahead and check out our website. But thanks for having us on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Well, this will go out before Father's Day. So I don't know if you have anything special going on for Father's Day that folks should know about.
Yeah, I mean, our latest thing actually has been hatchets. We engrave hatchets, so that's our biggest. We also have custom wallets that we do as well with various designs. So those are our two best sellers for Father's Day. But I've really been enjoying the hatchets because it's something a little bit tougher. So if you're interested in a custom hatchet, we do some nice designs.
Very cool. I mean, I guess that could be a gift that you give away to clients or something down the road, especially depending on your business. That sounds awesome.
Sure.
Well, Brandon, Catherine, this is awesome. It's really been a pleasure. May God grant you both many years as a couple, as a family, with your two beautiful children, and obviously with your business. Take care, and we look forward to seeing what happens with you. And anything major that comes down the pike, we'd love to have you back on and talk about it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for listening to Dad Devotionals. Be sure to text me at 717-913-5671 to join the Devoted Dads community. Do me a favor and share this episode with at least one other person who could benefit. Until next time, take care and God bless.